one of my favorite ways to have a great dialogue with a business founder is to ask them, how'd your company get started? It's so fascinating to learn about the history and the origin, what mattered to them, what was going on in their life at that time. What were the things that they struggled with? Were there moments that they had to risk it all? I'm listening really closely to their answers because what I'm trying to do is discern what today's culture really is. Because the founder is closer to the culture than anyone else in the company is. But yet, if you ask them directly about it, they often struggle to describe it. They end up talking in slogans and taglines. They sometimes describe it as the place that they're trying to build, or how it's about legacy and family atmosphere and carrying on that tradition. For some, they're just trying to say, well, we're just trying to make this a great place to work. But there's something that almost every founder really does struggle to do, and that's describe how their culture matters and what it's doing for them. Now, over the years, I've found that employees in any organization, they're constantly learning about what the culture is. They're watching how decisions are made, which behaviors get rewarded, which behaviors have cost them something personally. They're learning how much judgment they're allowed to actually use. How far can they push? And when's it safer to hold back instead? See, that's the real culture. And that's how culture actually is dynamic and it's constantly changing. It's not what's written on the banners that hang from the walls and the rafters, or by the way it gets told through company-wide meetings. Now, in my experience, your authentic culture, it doesn't announce itself. It shows up indirectly through actual behavior. And the people who read it best and most clearly, they're the ones with the most to give you. They're your highest performers. Now, don't miss this. High performers aren't just contributors to your culture. They are the curators of it. High performers aren't concerned about your mission statement. They don't align their effort around the posters and the banners of your stated core values. They actually do the work the way it makes sense here. They notice how taking initiative is sometimes welcomed and the situations when it's not welcomed. They notice how taking ownership might be encouraged in words, yet in the moment decisions, well, those are second guessed. They get run up the ladder for approval above. They see how their own development is only talked about once a year, generally in a poorly executed annual review. And when there's a gap between what the company leaders say the culture is and what the environment actually recognizes and rewards, your high performers don't argue about that gap. What they do is they tend to accommodate it. See, they only bring specific solutions to what the situation asks for, not anything more. And that results in band-aid fixes, not real solutions. They stop offering new ways of thinking because that kind of change isn't really welcomed here. In short, they narrow their effort to only what will be accepted in that culture. And that adjustment, that's not some sort of character flaw. It's more of a survival mode. And over time, this is how the capacity of your company with your high performers is vastly underutilized. Now, there's still plenty of action, but it's limited to what's accepted. And if you're not aware of this, your company's competitive edge, its momentum, they can come to a screeching halt. Now, from the outside looking in, the culture might still look okay. But from the inside, from the perspective of your high performers, it feels increasingly limited. They feel stifled, probably frustrated. And this is the exact moment when leaders from around the company sit together in the conference room and misread what's actually happening. They see the results they predicted and assume everything is going well. They see consistent numbers and assume they're going to continue. And they see people doing their jobs and assume they have high levels of engagement. For some founders, those assumptions are good enough. They accept what they see on the surface and they're not interested in going any deeper. But for the other founders, the ones who want to go further, they realize those assumptions don't tell them what they really want to know, which is, could we do more? Are we in a good position to continue? Are we ready for what's next? See, if you're leading a growing business, it's easy to believe that you've built something that will last, that will withstand the shifts in the market, and that you'll always have a great foundation of high-performing people working for you. But your success has never been left to your belief before. You've made it here because you've made it happen, because of your plans, your decisions, your leadership. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of information that you have access to, but most of that information are lagging indicators of what's already happened. But you must also be paying attention to your leading indicators, such as the readiness of your next level of leaders, or the systems that you've outgrown, the way people are actually working together. See, the clients I work with are consistently evaluating things like, has our success made us complacent? Have we stopped pushing for new ideas? Are we getting the best out of our high performers? See, the uncomfortable part of running a growing business is knowing that your present success may be limiting your future growth. And that success could be shifting your culture by teaching people how work really gets done here every day, despite what you say it is. So the big question for you is this: are you paying attention to what's really actually happening? That's what we're thinking about today.